Hey everyone, well, we're back again, hopefully with some constructive information for you here. What I wanted to do in the next 4 videos that I'm going to do here is, a great many of you have probably noticed in some of the older lead-ins to our videos, you have noticed the 4 words that we seem to have become very fond of in the presentation of our videos, and that is navigate, communicate, negotiate, and compromise. And we're finding that more and more these words become very applicable and almost can be designated as secret to success in these very intense soul-to-soul connections. For that matter, any type of relationship under any label could really be successful using those 4 words and applying them in regards to the relationship or the connection. As a great many of you may have noticed, there seems to be a whole hell lot of people on the planet now getting involved or connecting with other people in very intense connections. And sometimes they do manifest as relationships. Sometimes they just manifest as a friendship. Sometimes they manifest just as an energetic connection between people. And this is the idea of taking all of these connections, if you will, in all of the different degrees and variations of them, and there are quite a few, and taking something and trying to put it into a, shall I say, a simplistic form or a simplistic fashion. I'm basically, as a general rule, I like simplicity. I find many times when people are giving information, especially on the soul-to-soul connections by all of the labels, it is getting really complicated. It is getting more and more confusing as more and more people add in information. So I'm going to do these 4 videos, and the first one I'm going to do here today is navigating, or navigate through a soul-to-soul connection or any of a kind of connection. And I kind of like to start off with the situation of where someone connects with someone, another person, and it's a very intense connection. And the 2 individuals in question go into what I popularly have coined the bubble of phase. And one of the things that I like to impart to people to remember is the key word here, is if you've gone into the bubble of phase, there's something very unique that's happened, all right? And that is, when you're in the bubble of phase, there doesn't seem to be any issues or problems or confusion or irritability or buttons pushed on either side of the situation with people. And why is that? What is happening? And the reason it's happening the way that it is because it is a very high vibrational connection at a very high vibrational level. What's happening is all of the lower, if I can put it that way, belief systems or habit patterns or relationship templates as they have been experienced in the past suddenly all seem to disappear for an extended period of time or a small period of time. It doesn't really matter, but they're all gone. So what's happened is it seems as though when you're in the bubble love phase, navigating it and everything that goes on in it doesn't seem to be a problem. Everybody seems to do it nothing short of marvelously well. So let's take a look at it. Why are the 2 people navigating at this point in a smooth fashion at all levels? They don't argue, they don't fight, they appear to be almost like they're joined at the hip. And what's happening is there's a fluid exchange of energy going on. There's a unified field of energy that has been created by the two of them for a period of time. And actually what happens is, in the biggest majority of cases, each one of their higher selves has taken over in the situation of the connection between the two of them. Or in some cases, it will be just the one higher self in that particular perspective, depending upon what type of connection it can be. But I'm speaking here specifically in regards to the two initially. It applies to the one higher self designation also. So what happens is, at that point, the higher selves of the two individuals have actually started to navigate and bring this connection together in all of the aspects. Now, what I mean by all of the aspects, at an etheric level, at a mental level, at an emotional level, at a heart center level, a Kundalini level, and even right down to a physical level, much beyond our comprehension. So what I'm going to suggest here is, for any of you that might be listening to this video and you actually have gone through the bubble love phase, if you could take a couple of minutes and just go back and reflect in your memory that period of time when you were going through the bubble love phase. Each situation will be a little bit different or unique, but they're all very, very attuned to navigating all of those levels or layers in a very orderly fashion. Now, if you can remember that, what can happen is then, if you're in the situation where suddenly the bubble love phase has disappeared and you've come back down to reality, to your normal vibration, which you will not go back to exactly where you were, you will be up somewhat higher than where you started from initially in the beginning. If you're back at that stage and you're into the situation where you're having the issues, the button pushing is coming up, the very first thing that I'm going to suggest that you do here is you're going to have to remember one thing, and this is one of the keys that goes along with these 4 videos that I'm going to do, and I'm going to be repeating it. When you come back down and you get into the interesting dynamics that go on at the lower end of the vibration, if I can put it that way, your belief systems come into play. Remember how smoothly it was going when you were in the bubble love phase. Now, here's an interesting point. If you start remembering how it was going, what you will do at that particular point is you will reconnect with higher self or higher selves, depending upon the situation of the two individuals or the one higher self, whatever. Doesn't really matter. It's the same mechanics apply here. If you will remember that, what will happen is you will reconnect with higher self, and higher self can then participate in the next phase which is going on. And this is the big problem that I see taking place with a lot of people. They seem to forget when they come back down that the idea is to make the bubble love phase a permanent situation, either with the person that they connected with, or if not with the person, with themselves, which is even just as important, so that they can be in a unified field of energy also. This takes a little bit of navigation. And to do this between the two people, the very first thing that I would say to you is this, is when it comes back to its normal vibration, which is a little bit higher, in order to navigate through it more smoothly, you're going to have to do something, because I see this happening all the time. And it's not a criticism of people. I want you to understand that. But many of you would agree with me when it comes down to the he said, she said, or whatever variation. What's happening is, as the buttons get expressed and feelings get hurt, what happens is one or both people start taking it personally, like it's a personal attack on them. Really, it's not. What's happening is, if there's resistance or impediments or blockages, or more importantly, belief systems that are getting in the way, what happens is one has to learn to navigate through these. Now, when I suggest navigate through these, you have to kind of detach for the moment, and this is part of the process that we're going through of evolving to higher vibrational relationships under all labels here. And what has to happen is our personalities have to change and evolve, And we have to assist the emotional body or the little girl or the little boy inside to begin to grow up and mature, in a sense, to be able to move up to these higher vibrations. And you have to navigate through a lot of stuff that comes up. And your stuff will be pertaining to you, the issues that come up. And because, and I want to mention this, and maybe a few people will understand a little better, when you're in the bubble of phase, what happens is, because you're so connected and so in tune with each other, you become, I'll put it this way, you become psychically aware or intuitively aware or empathically aware of everything about the other person when you're in the bubble of phase. So that when you come back down to a normal state, if that's the right word, what happens is you're still very much aware of the other person, but now you've come back to a normal vibration. What happens is you become very much aware of perhaps what's going on with the other person or what's going on with you, and it's kind of an exchange going back and forth. So you need to navigate through this phase. And the way to do it is to not lose your cool, let your emotions run away with you, which is quite a task for some, I realize that, but it can be done with a little bit of patience and exercise on both individuals' part. And this is where the actual aspect here of navigating becomes very important between the two of you. Now, there's another thing that I want to mention here that is important. It's a little off the topic here, but I want to throw it in on this video. And it's this. A good number of you, when you have these intense soul-to-soul connections, what you do is you do what everybody else does these days, you Google it. And you usually end up on YouTube, and sooner or later, you're going to end up in the twin flame section of it by bumbling through it or synchronicity or whatever. And here is where you're really going to have to learn how to navigate. Now, there's a lot of people up on YouTube giving information on twin flames. The thing here is this, is you're going to have to navigate through that material, and wherever you are at the moment in the connection between the two of you, you will probably vibrate or resonate with one or two or maybe even three of the people there, and others you simply won't resonate with. The idea here when navigating through this aspect of it on YouTube or on the internet is to remember that you're going to change, you're going to evolve, and you're going to be going from one step to another step to another step to another step. It's a growth phase here. So what's happened is, as quickly as you resonate with something, you can just as quickly not resonate with it any longer. And this is where learning to navigate through the material that's there is very important to you. Because what happens is you can get stuck in a particular belief system or a theme or a particular ideology or philosophy in regards to twin flames, and you can stay there and you end up in a no-growth situation for an extended period of time. And some people will say, well, that's okay, that's where people should be. I don't follow that philosophy at all. I don't believe at any point in spiritual growth or awakening or in a soul-to-soul connection that people need to go through an experience by making a mistake or getting themselves in a pain situation or whatever. I believe that enough of us have now made enough growth steps forward that we can put out information that other individuals can use so they don't have to go through the same process, so it becomes faster for the individual. And learning how to navigate through the YouTube phenomena and through even the Facebook phenomena with twin flames is something everyone will have to do. And as you do this, you'll learn to be able to actually navigate through your own feelings. Now I want to discuss that part of it for a moment. Navigating between you and the other person by not taking personally is one thing. The other thing that I suggest is that you, whenever communicating with this person and things are not going well, one or both of you in the situation should try to maintain or try to get yourself stabilized in what I call the heart center chakras. Now that could be a quick 5-minute meditation to get yourself centered, because when you're in the heart center chakra, you're emanating what some people like to call unconditional love. I'm cool with that if that's what makes you feel better, call it unconditional love or love, whatever you want, but it gets you centered. So then what happens is when you're centered here, you're not likely to drop down into the emotional center when perhaps a button gets pushed. You can sit back and say, okay, I realize now that I'm having to navigate through my own feelings and the reactions that I'm getting within myself to something that the other person is saying, because they're not actually attacking me. It's just me reflecting or bringing out something that needs to be addressed within myself through the other person. This is a normal dynamic that takes place in a soul-to-soul connection between two people. All of the dysfunctional patterns or belief systems, and belief systems are really coming into play these days, these are what need to be addressed and brought out. And as they're brought out, they're let go of. Yes, the person will take on new belief systems, but here's the beauty of the system. As this happens, and you begin to detach and let go, and you learn how to communicate with each other by proper navigation of the feelings that you're experiencing at any given time. For example, if you get angry at something your soul-to-soul connection says to you, you need to stop for a moment before you react to it and take a look at it as, why is it making you angry? What is it about what was said or what was done that's making you angry? Instead of being in the habit, most of us are always looking in the habit when something happens, or always tend to look at the other person and, well, it's their fault that this happened. It's never the other person's fault. It's yours because you reacted to something, you took it personally, so you don't know how to navigate through your own feelings. It does not mean that you should not express your feelings. It just means that you need to learn to express your feelings in a different way. And that is, first of all, by understanding them, and then navigating through how you feel about your feelings, and then choose to express them in a different way. And that is from a higher vibration. Now, to give you an example of that, somebody's going to say, well, how the hell do I do that? I just mentioned it to you in the beginning of the video. Go back to when you were in the bubble love phase with the other person or with yourself, and remember how you were feeling. Remember how your feelings expressed at that particular point. Everything was wonderful. Everything was beautiful. There was no anger. There was no depression. There was no sadness. There was no problems either with the other person and you. Navigating, communicating, negotiating was an automatic process because you consciously were not involved with it. You see, this is the point I'm trying to make. You were not consciously involved when you were in the bubble love phase. You were in the connection with higher self or higher selves at that particular point. So you need to reawaken that template, which I might add has already been installed in you like a computer program. That's why you went into the bubble love phase. I'm trying to get people to understand that this is not a complicated situation in the soul-to-soul connection. It can be understood, and it can be explained very clearly as to what's going on. So when you're looking at the reaction that you're getting within yourself, you're becoming more self-aware. And as you become self-aware, you become more independent of the situation or the other person. So you're learning how to navigate through your own issues and patterns, but you're not feeling guilty. You're not getting sad. You're not getting depressed. You're looking at it from kind of an analytical point of view, but you're detached. And this is what exactly happened when you were in the bubble love phase. You were totally detached from all of the lower vibrational feelings or patterns or templates or belief systems when you were in the bubble love phase. So you navigate through this as you come down again. Remember how it felt. Remember how you looked at the feelings, how you analyzed what was going on between the two of you. You were amazed and completely blown away how smooth it was going. And you just need to recall that because that has been downloaded into you, the tools to be able to do it. And people are missing this at this particular point. Now, I think I've kind of went on here long enough. I think I've given some information for people to understand. And this is the first of the 4 videos that I'm going to do. And by the way, if any of you are looking for the Facebook group that pertains to Twin Flames and Soul to Soul Connection, you can find ours at True Twin Flame Process, or Our other group is Sacred Relationships through Spiritual Reunion. And you're just going to type it in on your Facebook page and you can find us there. Hope you enjoyed the video. I had fun doing it. I'll be back with another part shortly.